Your Bronco number is lying to you. You've seen professional football clubs run the Bronco as their aerobic test on Instagram, and you're thinking, I'm going to nail it and do that this year. However, if you set running speeds off a Bronco this season, every conditioning session you do is written to be too slow. Not by rounding error, but by a third of a meter per second every rep. There are three ways a club or a coach actually can measure aerobic fitness. The Bronco is what is used a lot, a 1200 meter shuttle, a continuous 5 or 6 minute run in a straight line, and the lab with a mask on, treadmill, gas analysis. Most coaches use these three grades of testing and think they are just different versions of the same thing. Cheap, medium, expensive. They're not. They're three different questions completely. The lab test, firstly, is kind of the gold standard. It answers a physiological question. How much oxygen can you use at a speed before you max out? The speed is the one that matters for prescription. The continuous run is a field test that estimates that lab test. However, the Bronco is a different question entirely. How do we repeat accelerations and decelerations while your legs are filling up with fatigue? That's a quality, but it's not maximum aerobic speed or mass. So the numbers. 20 Super League players tested three ways: treadmill, 5 minute run, and a 1200 meter Bronco. Both field tests underestimated the true mass. The 5 minute run was out by 4.45. What does that mean to prescription? Let's say my mass score in the Bronco is 4 meters a second. My 3 minute run should be 720 meters. However, done from the lab, it should be 801 meters. That's the difference between Sunday League and professional levels. For a supermaximal interval, the 120% mass, it's going to change for the Bronco to the lab score will be 96 meters over 20 seconds versus 114 meters in 20 seconds. That's a vastly different run. Here's the twist. The Bronco shuttle test actually correlated better with the lab results in terms of ranking your squad. Who finishes top, second, third, exact. It just gets the absolute number wrong. And it's the absolute number is what you're going to write your running sessions from. And it's absolutely critical. And the reason why is not the turning. It's the braking. Slowing down. Running at constant speed in a straight line costs about 4 joules per kilo per meter. Shuttle it over 20 meters and that climbs to 21. 5 times the price for the same meter. When researchers compare the full 180 turn against the straight stop and go, the turn itself almost added nothing. The cost was the body starting again. So the Bronco is not about 1200 meter run, it's a test about accelerating and decelerating. None of this really means bin the Bronco per se, right? It's that extra cost is the point. Why are we doing it? It's closer to a match in ways than running in a straight line. However, I think you just test to test. It's just a measure of quality, and it tells a coach whether they need to work harder on something or lesser on something. Training changes of direction and those qualities best done by playing slices of the game. Carefully constructed training that develops physiological and technical tactical modalities all in one. And the lab test has its own blind spot. It hands you a physiological profile, but loses some of the locomotive and biomechanical elements. Every test is honest about something and leaves something else out. It's about having time and resources. Okay, all three would be great to do in comparison and you'd get something out of it. There's no doubt about that. But what do you need to spend your time and resources on? That's a really important element for most club coaches and most S&C coaches who are running everything on their own. So we can stop asking what test is best and just figure out what we need and why we're using something. The continuous run is the speed you need really, and is probably the best option for most clubs and coaches to use. Okay, so really important that you know why you're using it and what you're going to do with the test results. And critically, make sure you make time for retesting.